there's one place to start, because Liverpool against Manchester City. And before we break down the game and the title implications and everything, I thought, as a neutral, I was thoroughly entertained in this game. And I was entertained despite the fact that there was no controversy. There weren't a bazillion goals. In fact, one of the goals was the result of an individual error. The other one was kind of like a freakazoid moment, a clever freakazoid moment, but a freakazoid moment nonetheless. I just thought this is what good football is, and thank you to Liverpool and City.
Yeah, and I thought it was a sad day in English football, because we won't have any more of those Klopp v Guardiola in the Premier League, which is a shame and it's sad. But for the last time, they gave us an amazing spectacle, really. I think Klopp said after the game, he said exceptional to qualify it. I think that was right. Even if it's a 1-1, one of the best 1-1s that you would see all season in all leagues combined. There was a lot of intensity. There's a lot of things to talk about, from obviously the penalty at the end, but also all the press and tactically what Liverpool did and what City did, and the Kevin De Bruyne substitution, all of that, which was wonderful to watch.
One of the papers here titled, and I just want to get a sense, just taking a step back more broadly, they titled City better in the first half, Liverpool better in the second half, Arsenal better in the end. Because obviously, in case you're under a rock or something, this result, coupled with Arsenal's win, means that Arsenal and Liverpool are joint top of the table, although Arsenal have a better goal difference. City 1 point behind. Is that a fair summation?
Yeah, I'm not sure the whole first half was good from City. I thought the first 25 minutes. After that, Liverpool, I felt, took the lead and took the game away from City. Not creating massive chances. The Szoboszlai header really is the only one, and he should have done better. But we saw what tactically Klopp did. I felt with the double pivot of Endo and McAllister very much, and then Szoboszlai a bit higher up on the pitch. That worked. But it's really in the second half where Liverpool dominated City like we've rarely seen them being dominated this season. But yeah, you could sum it up like that. City first half hour, Liverpool for most of the rest of that game, but then Arsenal the winner of the weekend for sure.
We'll get into the incidents, like we said, and of course that penalty. This is called teasing and foreshadowing. But I want to talk about what the significance was, if you think there was any, when he took off De Bruyne. Because at that stage, it's 1-1. Look, you replaced De Bruyne with Kovacic, and obviously they then went on and they hit the post with Doku, whatever. It is not an attacking substitution. It is a substitution that tells me I need more cover here because I do not want to concede another goal.
Yeah,
De Bruyne wasn't happy, and we'll break that down later. But just broadly, were you surprised when we saw that from Pep? Is that an un-Pep-like thing?
So I thought Pep would ask De Bruyne to play deeper. I thought they were overrunning midfield, and mostly because De Bruyne was too high up on the pitch in that second half. It worked at the start of the game, and they had that really high line of five with Foden, with Bernardo, De Bruyne, Haaland, and Alvarez. I felt there was a time in the game when Liverpool were the better team because they were fitter, because their press was so good, that De Bruyne needed for City's sake to be deeper. That was not the case. Kovacic is a very good press-resistant midfielder, so it made a lot of sense. If you don't want to bring De Bruyne deeper because you don't think that physically he can do it, you don't think he was having a good game, for whatever reason, then you bring Kovacic on to hold the ball a bit more and steady the ship, because they were really sinking at the time. And I think that worked. So credit to Pep.
You don't have an issue. It is, I guess, some Pep pragmatism, which some people say isn't part of his locker, but I think he certainly added to it at this stage. If we were in Italy or Spain, all we would have talked about until now is the late penalty that was not given, the Jeremy Doku on McAllister. I thought it should have been given. I can understand why it wasn't, and then it's some of the VAR issues we can get into, but do you agree that's a penalty?
Yeah, I thought it was a penalty. I was surprised Jamie Carragher, for example, on UK television said it was the right call.
He hates Liverpool, notoriously.
Yeah,
Jamie
exactly.
Carragher.
Doku touched the ball first, and I get that. And that's what the explanation, I think, that Michael Oliver, the referee, gave Jurgen Klopp and everybody else, which is fair. I still thought he almost chopped McAllister in two. And as soon as the ball bounces in the box, where we said a million times on this show, never let the ball bounce, Doku is done, because the only thing he can do is either leave, and he probably should have let McAllister controlling the ball and then hope for the best. But if he start putting his foot higher,
he could have tried to hook it.
It was always going to be like that.
It would have been very, very,
it was
very
silly
difficult to do.
and very clumsy from Doku. Got away with it there.
Yeah. All right, Jules. The The penalty defensively, I mean, we were talking off air about this. Jeremy Doku, not accustomed to being in this position.
Yeah.
Hindsight is always 20/20. You said it. Basic thing the kids are always taught. Don't let the ball bounce.
Yeah.
Once it bounces, he knows where McAllister is. I think it's fair to say it was also kind of uncoordinated the way he went.
Completely.
Which, again, Doku is normally coordinated.
Yeah.
I just think it's one of those moments. Yeah.
Yeah, completely. I mean, I think Klopp summed it all well, like really well. After the game, he said it's 100% a penalty. It could really have hurt McAllister, I think, which is a fair point too. And in the end, they just got lucky. And I know VAR will have an explanation, of course, and the referee. And we mentioned that if Doku touches the ball first, remember in the Manchester derby, the tackle from Ederson on Garnacho, where he gets the ball first, but then it's a really reckless tackle. And Den Haag said there should have been a pen. And we discussed it and we said, okay, you touch the ball first. But it's not always because you get to the ball first that it's not a foul behind that. And I think there's something to maybe clear off within the rules, or I don't know, within the referee's explanation of like, it's not always because you get to the ball first, especially if behind that you are reckless with your position, that it's okay.
I mean, what they do a lot of times is they look at, all right, you got the ball first, but then did you follow through or whatever, which I think is kind of stupid because in this situation would have been stupid. He's not thinking about why he's, I've heard people say, well, he gets the ball first and he doesn't then follow through. Well, first of all, he's not karate kicking anybody, right? He's just trying to get the ball away, right? His mind isn't thinking, oh, let me follow through and do McAllister at the same time, right? That's not how a person, it's not how a normal person's brain works with that kind of tackle.
Yeah.
I think very simply what happened here is, and maybe they'll release a VR, maybe they won't. I don't know. I'm still waiting on Howard Webb to explain the Tierney thing and why Tierney then popped up again as a VAR in the Arsenal game. I think that is just unconscionable personally. But and I say this as somebody who likes Howard Webb and actually likes it when he comes out and gives explanations. But I think very simply the VAR, who was Stuart Atwell, saw it and said, Ollie or Mikey or whatever the hell he calls him, right? He says, did you get a clear view? And Oliver said, yeah. He gets the ball first. So I didn't think it's a foul. Then he says, did I miss something? Is that not what happened? Does he not get the ball?
Yeah.
And then Atwell presumably says, no, he does get the ball. And then I think VARs have been given this instruction not to, quote unquote, re-referee games.
Yeah.
At that point, when Atwell says, well, he saw it correctly, he didn't get the ball. He saw the incident. He saw where he was. He did get the ball.
Get the ball, yeah.
I can't go back to him and say, well, look at it again and say it's a foul, because then I am specifically re-refereeing.
Yeah.
Now, I know those guidelines exist. I'm wondering if they should exist. I wonder, we don't want to re-referee everything, but certain decisions, there's no doubt in my mind that had Oliver been on the VAR, he would have assumed it was a penalty.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt in my mind also that if Oliver had given it as a penalty, Atwell wouldn't have said, oh, no, but look,
definitely.
You got the ball, right?
Yeah, definitely.
It's just one of those I think we just have to accept.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
As it happens, if you're a Liverpool fan, this could end up deciding the title.
Yeah,
but,
so you can understand the frustration 100%.
Them's the breaks, as they say there. Other big decision. Well, let's go chronologically. Yeah, the first goal.
Amazing.
All right. So for those who haven't seen it, it's a free kick. For those who haven't seen it. Is there anybody listening to us who hasn't actually seen this highlight, right? It's a corner kick. Kevin De Bruyne goes to take it. They do a set play where essentially McAllister is on the near post. His job is to cut things out. Nathan Ake basically goes around and essentially sets a pick so that McAllister can't move.
Yeah.
Darwin, I think, is on Stones, or is the closest to Stones anyway.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
Stones breaks for the near post just as De Bruyne delivers the ball low and hard with a bounce to the near post. And he was really, really close because, to be fair, Keller reacts pretty quickly, but he kind of bundles the ball over the line, right? It's not something we often see. I want to get you first, because since you're the Techers guy, on how difficult the pass from De Bruyne was. Because when I first saw it, I said, well, what's the more I see it, the more difficult it becomes.
Yeah.
I expect a professional footballer to be
Yeah,
able to
me
hit
too.
the ball low and hard. But then he didn't just hit the ball low and hard, which would have been a cool set play anyway. He hits the ball with such a spin that even after, well, first of all, it doesn't go out of play,
Yeah,
which is difficult
which is
to do from that
important,
from that angle if you're going to keep it that tight. But also in such a way that after the bounce, it almost like bounces and accelerates into Stones' pass.
Yeah,
pass.
I mean, more because of the rain, I think. More because of the pitch. than
Oh, that's
anything
fine,
else.
but he's still doing it.
It's more the height of it because it had to be the perfect height for Stones to just put the inside of his right foot in opposition to the ball for the ball to. If you look at Stones, he doesn't do anything. The ball is just so perfect that he has to just put his foot in, and the ball bounces off his foot into the goal. And I think that's perfect. And yeah, I think Nathan Manua texted me and said that ball is incredible. And I said, yeah, of course it is, but KDB is so good that I expect him to be able to do that. I don't know if he could do, for example, like 10 in a row or 20 in a row exactly like that. But it turned out for something that they only trained the day before, and Stone said after the game, we had 3 or 4
That's
attempts.
what he said, yeah.
Yeah, but I believe him. I don't know why he would not have said the truth. So I really believe him. It's something they saw against Forest anyway. So it was only the weekend before. So I fully believe him when he said that they tried it. And I think there's something with, so okay, McAllister is very naive, 100%. And I think there's a case to very old school, having someone at the near post, proper near post, and not at the angle of the 6-yard box where McAllister is, but put him on the post, and that goal never happens.
Okay, yeah.
But nobody does that
1950s
anymore.
man, yeah.
No,
They don't
when
do
we were
it for a
growing up,
good
there was
reason.
always one at the near post, one literally by the post, near
Right.
post and far
Yeah,
post.
there's a reason why clubs don't do that anymore.
Yeah,
Right.
but then
Because you take somebody out of the
that
market.
opens up for you. So same with the famous Origi Trent goal where Barcelona fell asleep. There was just the structure defensively
Right.
was all over the place, and I don't know what Darwin is doing.
Yeah,
it was not sure that he was zonal or man marking. It was not sure against Forest. I don't think he's very sure in Liverpool's defensive structure on set pieces
But
either.
Very simply, look, it looks really cool. It was tremendous amount of skill from Bruyne. For me, defensively, yeah, this is on McAllister if you want, although, he's got Ake's big square body on him, right?
Yeah,
So maybe
but
it's a
still.
little, but this is on Darwin. If you see Stones, there's no offsides on a corner kick, right? Darwin knows that.
Yeah.
You see Stones, who's not a little man, breaking towards the goal. I expect you to not be 2 steps behind him.
Yeah.
That's, if he had floated it in and Stones had headed it, we would be destroying Darwin right now.
But if he's
but
zonal
instead, we're all
marking-
focusing on this other.
Yeah, but if he's zonal marking, McAllister is the one ahead of Darwin then.
Yeah, that's
So-
fine. But
So
but,
it's for McAllister's ball.
but sorry.
Zonal
But,
marking, Darwin doesn't have to follow Stones. This is not how zonal marking, you stay in your zone.
no, I understand how zonal
So-
marking. I understand how zonal
so
marking
it's not
works.
on Darwin if
But
he's
you can
zonal
see
marking.
when the delivery comes in,
Yeah.
that it's not floated up in the air, and so it's not going to be McAllister heading the ball away, right?
Yeah. But
So you can see that. So you can see that the only way the ball gets through is on the ground. And
Yeah,
he
but I
gets a
think-
big jump on you. So I think to some degree
for
that's
sure.
on,
But
that has
again,
to
it's
be on
very
Darwin.
clever way from City's point of view, I think. Really credit.
From clever to not so clever, Ake's back pass, Darwin's through. Ederson goes and takes him out in a really weird, uncoordinated way, which then means he's injured, which then means Liverpool get a penalty, which McAllister converts, and Ederson has to come on, and Stefan Ortega and his mustache come on. This is just an Ederson brain fart.
I don't know what's more stupid, the pass or
Okay, well-
Ederson. Well, no, if you do a pass like that, when you know that you're playing
Yes.
against Darwin Núñez, if Gakpo had been the number 9 for Liverpool, he would not have
Right.
read the game like Darwin. This is what Darwin does. So I was very disappointed by Ake. Ederson, this is not the first time that he does crazy things, because you said
Uncoordinated.
yeah. I just think he thinks he can get the ball. So he's basically, his body and his leg is like, I'm going to kick the ball. And instead he kicks Darwin because he's so late. And I'm thinking, why are you even trying to play the ball? Go towards Darwin, stand him up.
Yeah, he's not
and
gonna
force
beat
him.
you.
It's completely like, I just don't understand for such a good goalkeeper. But you've said before this season how average he's been. And for me, this is a perfect example of it. This was a terrible mistake from Ederson.
Yeah, when people make such craven mistakes, I don't generally lump it into their judgment of their performances, right? Unless it's a lot, because this to me seems so extreme. I think it's simply a case, he had a lapse in concentration, he switched off, he had something that goes beyond, like I said, I agree with you. Week to week, I don't think he's been tremendous this season. I don't think he was tremendous last season, frankly. But this is just something that it happens, you take on the chin. We don't have information now on how serious his injury is. I do think he's a much better goalkeeper than Stefan Ortega. Not that Ortega is bad or anything.
No, but yeah, for sure.
I do think if it is a prolonged injury, then I think this is going to have some serious impact.
I mean, I know Ake's the defeat at Arsenal where he deflected Martinelli's shot. I know it's not technically his fault, but between that goal and the penalty, it hasn't been a great season in some of those big games. By the way, City against the top 8, we've said that before, 5 draws and 1 win so far. 5 draws, 1 defeat so far.
So in other words, they're not doing they're not winning their head-to-heads.
Yeah, I'm just saying in those top games, it's been tough. And we even mentioned the Chelsea games. And they have Arsenal
coming up, right? So that's
the next game, yeah.
So yeah,
that's when they win their first one.
There you go. You and I both wax lyrical about all the pressing and stuff like that, and how well that was actually by Liverpool. I mean, I gotta say, Darwin Nunez, as you know, I'm not a Darwin guy, but the effort and the efficiency he gives you off the ball, less so with his offsides, but that's another issue.
Offside, yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna hit the offside point first, right? On my commentary, somebody said he's offsides 5 times this game, and Erling Haaland's been offsides once all season, right? I remember Thierry Henry going offsides all the time. I remember Pippo Inzaghi going offsides all the time. Yeah, you don't want to be stupid about it. You want to read the last defender and whatever. But if you're offsides this often, it's because you're playing on the shoulder of the last defender and you're gambling and you're going quickly. Like, that stat in isolation, I don't think means that much, does it?
No, I don't think so, unless it happens week in and week out. And then in that case, there's a problem because the timing of your runs is just not good enough. So you have to be more clever. But in this game, you have to say that the back 3 at City worked so well. The line worked so well.
Sorry, just a quick thing on the back 3. This is another game where we saw Ruben Dias drop for Akanji.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought they went for the more mobile back 3 with Ake. Is this becoming a thing?
I don't know. I've said to you, I didn't think that Ruben Dias had been very good this season. In some games this season, maybe in top games, I was still surprised to see him bench. I won't lie. I was surprised.
And I wonder, this is where I think you get into the man management, the hold that the coach has on the players, the trust that the players have in him, because Ruben Dias must have thought, all right, after Rodri and KDB and the goalkeeper, I'm the next automatic choice, right? I kind of feel like that's how it has felt.
Yeah.
Really up until this season.
Big player.
And now Akanji, just
100%. I think you can't drop Walker in a game like that because of against Ruben Dias. Then Ake, I can see why you want a left-footed player there too.
So and also Guardiola was coming off an injury. I don't think Guardiola is 100% fit.
No, and I don't think he's better than Ake for a game like this. So then it's between Akanji and Diaz. And if you want a more mobile player, like you said, to play in the middle of those 3, then I think it makes sense to have Akanji. And to be fair, he did. I thought he did really well in a game that it can't be easy to have Darwin all the time running at you and running and being in your face all the time. It can't be easy. And to continue on the pressing thing, this was the best in the second half, especially the best I've seen Liverpool press this season. I thought they were just incredible to a point where it was tiring to watch on television because of all those red shirts running everywhere at high intensity. I think people underestimate. I think the high press, everybody can run a lot, and there's players who can do better, do more than others, of course. But you can work on people's fitness and people running a lot. It's not so much that. It's just that imagine if you're the opposition, how difficult it must be to face a team like that, because you know that, again, it's not so much the running, it's the pressure that it puts on you mentally, in the sense that every time you get the ball, if you're Akanji, Walker, Diaz, Ederson, Stones, and Rodri especially, that every touch has to be perfect. That if you miscontrol the ball, if you misplace the pass, if one of your passes is overweight, they will recover the ball high and you'll be in trouble.
And I think this is
It's
made
draining
possible.
mentally.
Though. It's draining mentally, but it's made possible not just by the fitness, but by the coordination of the passing. Because yes, it feels really intense, and I agree with you, tiring on television. But there's always specific triggers. There's always coordinated movements with it. It's not simply like one of the stupid terms that has come up in this country in the last couple of years that I hear from ex-pros is like, hunt in packs. Let's hunt in packs. I'm like, this is so stupid. Really? Hunt in packs? Like, why don't you just say press high? It's the same thing, right? It's the same thing, right? And you can watch it and you can see the triggers. I thought Szoboszlai, not good on the ball, clearly maybe not fully fit yet and stuff. But I thought he was actually one of the keys to it, together with Elliott and Diaz. I was thinking like, all right, who was Liverpool's best player? I would have given it to Diaz if not for all the goal chances that he was unable to he missed. So I gave it to Van Dijk in the end because I thought he was phenomenal. And we need to talk that because we haven't mentioned the large blonde Norwegian yet.
Yeah.
He had the one-on-one with Van Dijk, which ended up in a tame shot.
But it was still a shot.
It was still a shot, but yeah,
It's
but he's
shot.
stretching to get the shot off.
I know, but it's a shot on target. It's still a shot.
You didn't think Van Dijk was magnificent in that game?
No, I thought he was great in the game.
Van Dijk still surrounded by Kwanzaa, Jogo at left back, Bradley, who I thought played really well at right back.
Kwanzaa as well did well, apart from one mistake.
I mean,
I
know we've had our moments of criticism of Van Dijk, but this was a tremendous performance.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was really, really amazing. Really amazing. And Haaland was really disappointing, I thought. Apart from a few touches there and there, the ball for Doku before the post, stuff like that. But overall, this is just not a game for him, I think.
I think Foden also one or two moments, but then I expect
he has to score in the second half at 1-1.
Yeah, when you get anointed the best player in the league, it was almost like a curse.
Yeah.
And I almost wonder if KDB's like, wait a minute, he's not even one of the three best players on this team, and now all of a sudden the coach, the gaffer. I know I'm not suggesting
maybe you're right.
Maybe
it's a good point.
But I do wonder, right? He's not one of we know how much you love Rodri.
Yeah,
you'll take KDB ahead of him, and I presume you'll take Haaland ahead of him, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
I know.
On the KDB thing, we've seen this before, and it's funny, and I don't know because he always had that short hair and he's got red hair and stuff, and he always looks kind of nerdy, right? Now that he's gone for the shaggier look, is he maybe just psychologically? It seems like he's a little more vocal and rebellious. He does not like being substituted. It's not the first time we've seen it.
I mean,
at 32, but when Pep went over to talk to him during the game, which
I've never seen anything like this.
You don't often see that.
No, people are saying like, "Oh, let's not make it bigger than what it is." Okay, tell me another manager in like a big manager in a big team. I'm not talking like some dude in League One or something, right? Who after a substitution in a game like this, where there's so much tension and pressure, it's 1-1. You're under pressure. You are dominated. You go and sit down next to your player to have a little like a little chat to comfort him or something. I've never seen this happen ever, and certainly not in Pep's career.
Yeah, well, we've seen Pep do unusual things. We've seen
sitting down next to someone in a game.
I don't know if it was mind things. I don't know if the situation is more serious than actually happened, than we actually know of. Maybe something was said and Pep felt he needed to intervene straight away. I just don't know how to read this because it seems so strange. Two guys who've worked together for so long, and it's such a public sphere, and obviously emotions are running high. But these guys are professionals. These guys are superstars, not just because they're good, but because they control their emotions, right? Or they channel their emotions.
Yeah. So do you think KDB could have said, "Why did you take me off?" Or do you think KDB was saying to Pep, "There's clearly a problem here. Look, we can't keep the ball up, or we can't."
You mean once Pep sat down with him and they were having a conversation?
Yeah. So already when he come off, he told him, I guess, the same thing that then they discussed again after. Because if it's something that KDB said to Pep, "Look, I don't understand why we can't keep the ball, and look, so and so is too wide. I don't know, whatever tactical it is, I've got no issue with it." And Pep sits down because he will learn something maybe from KDB's observation from the pitch. If it's KDB saying, "Why do you take me off? There's 20 minutes to go."
He makes it all about him. Then
Then I've got slightly more of an issue because you can't question your coach's decision.
Not at that time.
No, you're right. Certainly not during that game. And then he comes and sit down next to you instead of like focusing on the pitch. So this is what I would like to see. But Pep seems to be quite dismissive after this. Saying, yeah, it's okay. This has happened a lot.
I wonder if they've secretly promoted him to assistant coach because what's his name is getting older.
Juan Malilo. Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
Juan Malilo,
Maybe. Yeah.
All right, we got to play the percentage game. So, despite the fact that Manchester City are in third place, technically, the bookies still have Manchester City as favorites to win the title.
Yeah.
And guess what? So do I.
Okay.
Am I crazy?
No. What did I tell you the other day? Producer Freddie, or maybe Producer Freddie wasn't there. Did I say something like 35, 32, and
you were
31,
very, very tight,
something like
right,
that?
yeah.
I would keep it the same. I just think that it's still super tight, and I would not have anybody more than a few percent ahead of the others too.
All right. I have.
What would you go?
I was very scientific. I did the post game show with on YouTube with Janusz and Donaldson, and I went City 38%.
Yeah.
Arsenal, Liverpool, I gave them both 31%.
Okay, that's less than the last time we did this, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, right?
What, for City? Yeah, because they've gone down.
Yeah.
They're in third place. You know, when facts change, opinions change.
That's very true.
But I still think it's theirs to lose, right? And I still think the experience matters, the quality matters, the injuries for Liverpool. Because you know what? Oh, it's great. There's Mohamed Salah. That's not Mohamed Salah, right? That's not the Mohamed Salah we know because he's coming off an injury. He's not where he needs to be. We don't have Szoboszlai. There's no Jones. I don't need to see Gakpo again, but if those other guys keep playing like that, I'm going to have to see Gakpo again, right? So I put those, that's without getting into Alexander-Arnold at the back, who again, if Bradley plays like that, maybe I move Alexander-Arnold.
You lose a lot of
maybe I move
creativity.
Trent into midfield though.
Yeah, there was a lot of creativity. There was a time where he felt like Liverpool could only create by recovering the ball high in the attacking third, which is not really sustainable. You should be able to create chances in different ways.
You need to find room for Trent on the pitch, right? Wherever that is. So, and there's no Alisson either, by the way.
Yeah.
So all these things together, whereas City don't have any significant injuries, Grealish will be back shortly. So for me, and Arsenal are a lot less experienced.
Yeah.
To me, these factors come together, and to me, they matter. Now, Arsenal could be out of Europe by this time next week.
Yeah.
Maybe that moves the needle a little bit. But anyway, those are my percentages.